Hi, Brendan. Nice to see you on. Looks like we're starting to get some people on Instagram. So just so you guys know, I have a YouTube live and an Instagram going at the same time. So I'll just be changing which way I'm looking at any given moment, but there's two different lives. So excited to welcome you guys, talk a little bit about cost of living in China. Hi, we'll give a little bit for people to get on. Excited to chat today. Just to start off, how about everybody post in the chats here? Hello, Taylor or Emily. If everyone can just post where you're coming in from. So post where you're located. I am in USA. I'm in North Carolina myself, working remote, part of the US recruitment team. So if everyone wants to just post where you're coming in from today, I'm excited to see where everyone's from. And who knows, you might see somebody located near you that you didn't know. I know that we'll get into it a little bit more, but hello, Callum. When I was teaching for EF, so I taught in Beijing, which again, we'll get into this a little bit, but I was able to talk to somebody before I went abroad. And so we ended up being on the same flight when we met up in Chicago going over to Beijing. And it was so nice. I wouldn't say we were even friends. We just knew of each other. And it was so nice to know somebody at the airport. Like we barely waved at each other and just know there was another foreigner on my flight. Definitely a comforting feeling. So hopefully you guys can find somebody that is located near you. So it looks like we've got, let's see, we've got Karen, we've got, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Simfi, Nick Ferguson, I'm sorry for the last name, Rebecca, Callum. Let's see, we've got Maya on. Hello, Maya. Chan. So we have some questions already coming in hot. I love it. For now, we're just going to start off if everyone wants to note where you're located. So we've got some Wisconsin, Scotland, that's North Carolina. I was like, wait, who's in North Carolina? That's me. Let's see. We've got Nebraska. We've got some South Africa flag representing. Living and working in Italy from South Africa. Nice to meet you, Leah. So we'll just give a couple minutes just for everyone to kind of get logged on. I know sometimes it takes connection moments to get everything connected. But excited to have you guys on. I might get some Taylor Swift music going in the background just because she's my artist of choice. I do love me some background music. So give me one moment. Just again, for those logging in, thank you for those that were right on time. You're going to get this a couple times. We're just mentioning where we're from, Las Vegas, currently on a coach from Wales traveling home, which is London. My best friend is from Wales, so it's always fun to see that. My roommate, actually. Madison, Wisconsin. I think we had another Wisconsin, or maybe that was the same one. So we're getting some full rep, some Texas. All right, Alana, welcome. All right. Perfect. From Birmingham, UK. I was going to say Birmingham, Alabama. Different Birmingham. All right. Getting quite a good turnout. Well, we will go ahead and just get started. Again, my name is Cecilly is my full name. I am currently a recruiter for EF, recruiting teachers going to China to teach English. I taught with EF in 2018 to 2019. So a little bit about my story. So I did not have a teaching background. I myself was working in hospitality. So I was working Ritz-Carlton, front office management. And I think in any career, you look to the job ahead of you or your boss's job, essentially, and you ask yourself, do I want that job? And I looked at her job and I was like, I don't want that. I'd always had an interest in teaching. And so as I was going on a vacation to Costa Rica. And literally as I was sitting on the plane, I was looking up like teaching jobs abroad. Like, how can I go abroad? I didn't have a bachelor's in education. So I was like, before I jump into another degree, how about I go and test to see if this is something I enjoy? So I started looking for teaching jobs abroad. I mean, on the plane there, I made like a little spreadsheet because that's who I am. Made a spreadsheet of like the different companies that kept coming up and their packages. I looked them up, and EF kept coming out on top for me. So I applied as I was literally on the plane Wi-Fi to Costa Rica for a job in China, and got an interview for once I got back, interviewed with them, and I was so excited to teach in Beijing. So I arrived in February of 2019, right after the Spring Festival. And it was very interesting because the city and the country basically like shuts down for the Spring Festival. Everyone's like on vacation with family doing their things. And then right after it just blossoms all over again. So I went at a perfect time, I thought. Loved my time teaching. I loved my experiences traveling. And that's a lot of what cost of living, what I want to talk about is how you can optimize living in China and also enjoying your life there, because it's such an experience. You have to take advantage of it while you're there. So if you guys want, what we'll do is just keep the questions coming in. If you have any specific questions, really, I'm just here for you. I don't have an agenda. I'm just here to answer questions that you guys have. I'll kind of chat a little bit about my experience just to get started. And then I know I'm one that as people start talking, that's when all of my questions come up. So go ahead and just drop your questions in the chat, and I will kind of chat a little, look at the questions, chat a little, look at the questions, and we'll just go from there. So yeah, just to get started a little bit. First off, great rep for everywhere today. Okay, just a sec. I'm just checking sound. Can I get a thumbs up from anyone? Just checking the sound really quick. Does everyone hear me okay? I'm not just talking to myself. Just anyone thumbs up, you get bonus points. No, I'm just kidding. I can't get bonus points, but if I could, I would. Also, I love the little wave emoji because I am a Jeep owner. So if any of you are Jeep owners, I do the peace sign as my Jeep wave, but we do the Jeep wave. So the waving emoji is what we universally use as our Jeep wave. So to all of you non-Jeep owners, Jeep wave, thumbs up. Thank you, Loretta. Extra credit. And you get a car. No. All right. Oh, and Merez K. Awesome. Cool. Well, we are getting some questions coming in hot. So we'll just start off. I think I saw one at the very beginning. So I'm just zooming down here. How is EF approaching the new China regulations? Great question. So a lot of different changes in China, as we know. I think one reason why a lot of teachers are interested in China is it's a fascinating country. It's very different from Western nations, Western countries. So there are recent changes in the regulations of how kind of after school curriculum is approached. Basically education, I guess you could call, I wouldn't say reform, but education changes in policy. So the biggest change that we're making is in our curriculum. So with EF, as you know, is such a large company and has been around for so long. We have a very good reputation and relationships in China. When I say reputation, I think of Taylor Swift. Big reputation. Anyway, so EF has a really good reputation in China and great relationships with the government. So the way that we're approaching the changes is really in our curriculum. And we have been approved for the changes that we've made. So on great track to keep up with those changes is the best way to explain it. Side note, just about EF and kind of the knowledge of it. So I remember when I was in China and I was teaching, sometimes, you'd meet people on like a train, or you'd meet people on, I don't know, subway. I mean, a lot of travel. And I would, in my very broken Chinese, try and impress them when I wasn't too scared to talk. And I would say like, oh, I work for EF, or Yingfu is how you say it in Chinese. So you can practice that. Ready? Ying, like yin yang. Yeah, ying, fu, like food, but just no duh. So Yingfu is how you say EF in Chinese. And so I would say like, oh, I know the basic words like wo is I, like wo, lao shi is teacher, wo lao shi Yingfu in my very broken Chinese. Like I, teacher, EF. And they would know like, oh, Yingfu, oh, very good. And sometimes when I would speak with people that knew English as well, they would say, "Oh, I know that. My so and so, my brother took it, or my brother took courses at EF." Or it's a very, I like to say, household name. Where again, going back to the regulations and those changes, that was just something that I remember impressing me and kind of reassuring me as I was in China. Of EF is a very good company, a very strong company, and well known and well liked among people. And you say it, Ying like yin yang, Fu like food, minus the duh. So Ying Fu. I'll type it in here for you. Now you know how to say EF in Chinese. Yeah, Ying Fu. Ying Fu. So good times. Okay, next question. I'm gonna hop. That was an Instagram, so we're gonna go over to our give some love to our YouTubers. Do you recommend saving up money before going to China? I'm looking for a career change and would love to pack up and go, but I really would love to be prepared. Great question, Taylor, as you should. Well, a good job adulting. I think, yeah, I love those little adulting stickers. Like, I did my laundry adulting. You get an adulting sticker. And also stickers are such a big thing in the classroom where when your students do something, you like give a little sticker. So sticker to Taylor for adulting well. Yes, so I would definitely recommend saving up before. We do recommend you have 10,000 yuan. Again, recommendations of 10,000 yuan or RMB, which is the currency. Let me do a quick conversion. So to US dollars, it's about 1,500 to pounds. It's 1,100. So we do recommend you have access to that amount of funds, roughly that amount. The reason being is there are upfront costs of moving. You don't think about it until you've moved. Well, I've recently moved, so I've definitely on my mind of, the settling in costs. So a lot of the apartments in China will come furnished. So they'll have couches, beds, the basic furniture, but you will need to get sheets and, blankets and maybe some extra pots and pans, things that you don't think about. So we do recommend you coming with around that amount of money in order to settle in. That being said, EF does provide an upfront loan to our teachers because we know that it is expensive. Sorry, guys, so much chatting. Also, I just noticed all my Starbucks are like super bright pink, if that says anything about who I am. So we do recommend you coming in. Oh, we do offer the upfront loan because again, there are those costs up front, and we do then take it out of your paycheck each month. So that's really nice, but I would say don't rely on that. So definitely come with your own funds in order to do that. And I'm so excited for you, Taylor. Yes, a career change, I would definitely recommend. This is such an amazing opportunity, whether you want to continue in teaching or if you want to then transition to something international to show that you've been able to live abroad and carry out a job function in an international country such as China. I mean, if you can do China, you can do anywhere. It's very different, but such a good opportunity for growth. A lot of people in EF, just kind of a plug in here, a lot of people that I work with have started in different capacities with EF. A lot of us, especially as recruitment team, started as teachers. And so it's a really good chance to grow if you're not sure what you want to do, which, I mean, who really is? But besides that, if you're open to changing and things like that, it's a good opportunity for growth. So that was a very long answer to yes, come with money, a little bit about EF. If you didn't already know that, if you already did, disregard that information. All right, we're going to hop over to Instagram for a question here. Okay. Who else just like lives with TikTok sounds in their mind? Because that is me. Okay. Boom, hit it. Man, the struggle is real over here for me. I don't know what my deal is. I thought I saw questions, but maybe that was the only question on Instagram. So Instagram, keep the questions coming. If you have anything for China, cost of living, I think a lot of our questions, oh, sorry, you guys are just seeing my hand here. A lot of our questions are coming from our YouTube people. So we'll hang out there and happy to have you, Instagram. Doesn't matter. If you don't have questions, just sit back and enjoy. We got nothing going here. All right, Ying Fu. Oh, I was like, who typed that? That was me. Okay, it's still early, guys. I need more coffee. What is the typical cost for rent and bills per month in Guangzhou? I leave next Thursday, Lucy. We're so excited to have you in Guangzhou. Oh, that's such a fun city. Yay. Okay. Especially if you're coming very soon, one thing I would say is if you are currently in progress with your visa and with arrival, take advantage of what we call our teacher ambassadors. So they are people that are on the ground in these specific cities. Happy to answer the best of my knowledge for cost of living in different locations, but we have teachers that are in each city that our current teachers, yourselves, would be going to, and they would be the best experts on this. That being said, happy to give you a shot in the dark for what that looks like. One great site that I recommend is numbeo.com. Let me post it over here. So it's like number, but with the letter O. Lots of little typing stuff here. It's because I didn't. www.numbeo.com. Great website for cost of living comparisons. So with this, we'll just do a little live because I can speak to Beijing. So for Beijing, I paid 4,000 RMB per month, which converts to 618 as of right now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that checks. So about 600 per month, and that was a private room, shared bath. I loved my apartment. I don't know if I can drop video, but if you have any questions, hit me up after. I'll send my email here. So I don't want to spam people that, don't really care. But if you do, definitely send me any questions you have after. And I'm happy to answer any questions or, share I have more pictures and things I have that I can send to you. But if you have questions, if not, do not worry about it. You don't have to be my new best friend. I'm sad, but I will recover somehow. Just kidding. But I'd love to have you as my best friend. Cecilly Francisco at EF Kids. Okay. Yeah. So if you have any questions, send that my way after. So cost of living for me was about 4,000. That was in city center. So I live pretty central. That was, I would say, the higher end among the people that other teachers. So it looks like for Guangzhou, cost of living in the city center, I believe, is around the same. It probably is a little less expensive. So I would say around the 3,000 to 3,500. But hit me up after, Lucy, or reach out to, oh, great. Looks like Lucy and Taylor are chatting. Oh, great. Yeah, definitely take advantage of your teacher ambassadors. And I'll also drop a link there for how to reach out to them. They are teachers that are in the city right now. So as much as I would love to think that I know everything, sadly I do not, but I can point you in the direction of where to get it. I would estimate, though, around about 3,000 to 4,000 RMB per month. If anybody else knows a little bit more for Guangzhou, hop in here for Lucy. I'm sure she would love to get some of that info. Oh, hello, Scott. One of my friends joined. Not EF, but happy to have you here. Okay, we're hopping over to what's this called? Instagram, IG. Hopping over to Instagram. Looks like we got some questions. Hi, Alyssa. Hi, Wiley. Hello from EF Tours Canada. Welcome, Alice. Mole. Okay. Hi there, Cece. Let's see. How long does it take to get over to China currently from the moment of application? Great question. Misha, I believe is your name. Misha. Great question. It really depends on your consulate. So right now, there are, each country has different regulations. I would say for consulates that are issuing visas, we are anticipating arrivals into about December to January. For those that are not, we are anticipating and already seeing that the Olympic preparations. So if you didn't already know, China is hosting the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. And so we're already anticipating that will have more restrictions just because, again, they're going to be very careful to ensure that COVID rates don't rise within the country. So for those that are in consulates that are not issuing visas, we are looking at a post-Olympic arrival of anywhere from about April to June. So that also gives time for holidays, extra saving, as I think Taylor recommended. So just be aware of that. It is very case specific. So talk to your recruiter if you're already there. If not, definitely as you're in the application process, we'll talk about your location and which consulate you're in the area for. I am just sending over really quick before I forget, because that will take all of 3 seconds, this teacher ambassadors information. So for those that are in the exact location that you're looking for, These are your teacher ambassadors for city-specific questions. So definitely your best resource. Again, I would love to think that I know everything, but sadly I do not. I will send it over on Instagram in one moment. I'm going to just answer. Let's look for another question here. Would the ambassadors be able to verify my WeChat? Could be useful to have WeChat pay active for a while I'm traveling. Thanks so much. Absolutely, Lucy. Talk to your recruiter. They can also verify. If not, we can find another member on the team that can verify. But yes, either your teacher ambassadors or your recruiter can verify. So for those that don't know what WeChat is your bread and butter only app you need in China. I don't know why I'm doing so much hand action here, but I can't stress this enough. WeChat is all you need in China. You do everything there. So I think it's so cute. I think it's so precious that here in the US and maybe in the UK, you start to see this, that we're just now getting on the bandwagon for like touchless pay. What, not even a credit card. I'm talking like you scan a QR code, right? I think there's like PayPal Pay now, where you scan, or Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever that. In China, that is the only way that it really happens. Yes, cash still exists, but it's by far not as used as WeChat Pay. So all of your payments are digital. Everything goes through your app. I would show you my phone, but that is what's hosting our live today. Everything goes on WeChat. So you can buy plane tickets, train tickets, movie tickets. You can send money to people. You can pay rent, and you do pay rent usually through that. You pay your utilities. You buy water. You can order food. I mean, everything in China is so efficient, and that is more than anything. Is that, I mean, I remember I would leave my apartment in the morning. I had about 5 subway stops between my place and my work. So it was about a 30-minute commute. Also, one really good thing that I enjoyed was because the schedule of teaching or with EF is kind of in the off hours of not prime time. Oh my gosh, what am I thinking? Of rush hour on the subway, you really avoid a lot of that. There were several times where I had to, especially on like the weekends when you're working an 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 kind of thing, where you had to be during rush hour on weekends, as much as it's not even really work rush hour. And it was a nightmare. I mean, rush hour in China is no joke. So that was one really good thing of the schedule being mostly work weekdays. You avoided a lot of that. All right, so that was a question from Misha over here on Instagram. We're going to hop back to our YouTube. Hello. With the ambassadors, yes. Do teachers often live together, or is it more likely we'd be living on our own? Great question, Taylor. I would say most teachers do room together, and they really do that for 2 reasons. One being cost. It's cheaper to have a roommate. And 2, it's a very good social acclimator. I don't know if that's a word. It's really good to socially have. It's a really good social support to have somebody there that is, in your same situation, that's also teaching, that kind of understands. I think you undervalue that before living abroad. I did, at least, of the support network. And that's one thing I loved with EF is from the moment I arrived, the teachers that I was teaching with had gone through what I'd gone through. So they'd already arrived into a new country, not known anything, not known where to get stuff. And so they were helped, and then they help. And it's a really strong community. I mean, I say this, that your friends become your family in China. I still look that way at the people I taught with, of they are family. They're not just friends. So yeah, I would say some do live together. To give a very rough, I mean, this is like just based on my one person sample size, one statistic, I would say 10% live on their own, maybe 15, just to give extra. But the majority live together. So about 85, if I can do math, would live together as roommates. All right. What city was I in? I was in Beijing. So 2018 to 2019. I would like to know I would like to get started with the application. Absolutely, them Bonator. If I'm reading that right. I will send that as well of where to apply. So EF English first. We're happy to have you. I'm so excited to see that an interest in applying. And again, we'd love to chat with you. So I'll send that. I'll drop that in the link here of just where to apply. I'm sorry, I'm giving so much love over to our it's easier to type this for my YouTube friends. So I'll hurry and do this for live. So YouTube, just hang tight. I'll be right there. BRB, I'm coming, I promise. English first. This is like how I'm 10 minutes away. Haven't left the house. Again, I hear like that TikTok, the one that's like zoom in, dun, 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 if you know what I'm talking about. If not, just pretend like I'm normal. Apply dash now. Okay. Let me double check this for our Instagram people of how to apply. Yeah, and in your description, put a little shout out that you came to the live. We'd love to know that. All right, apply dash now slash perf. All right, so that's some of our from our Instagram. Okay, let's see. I'm just going back up. Okay, kindly assist. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my gosh, I can't. Guys, do you ever just feel like you have fat fingers? Like I just click on things and I do not mean to. How many classes did you teach? Great question. So during the weekdays, you're going in about 1 or 2 p.m. and you're there at the center until about 7 or 8. I usually would teach one class on the weekday evenings. So a class at about 6 or 7, because you have to think of it of students are coming to EF after their regular school day. And so the time that you teach is kind of inverse to what a school schedule is. So during the weekdays, I would teach one class a night, maybe 2 classes on one night. And then the weekends is where you have the bulk of your classes. So weekends, I had probably about 6 classes. So I would have like an hour long, they're an hour long classes for our younger students. So 3 to 11, 3 to 7. 3 to 7 is 1 hour long. 7 onwards is 2 hours on the weekends, and they have a break in between. So weekdays, you only teach the 1 hour of the younger classes. And so on the weekends, I would teach probably about 6 classes, and that's 1 hour of young students. I have a break, another hour, I have lunch, and then usually a 2 hour, and then the 1 hour break or 1 hour, something like that. So about 6 on the weekends each day. So in total, about 12 to 15 classes. Great question, Alyssa. Hopping back over. So it looks like I don't have any new questions on our YouTube. So now we have our Instagram people coming in clutch. Hi, I'm due to fly out soon and keen to find out how much you think a teacher can save in 1 year with EF. This is Universal Alice. I'll be in CQ, which is Chongqing, which I know is cheaper than tier 1 cities, FYI. Yes, so for our cities in China, when we offer, one thing to just know is that changes constantly happen. This is China. This is the dream. So for our cheaper cities, I mean, it's such a hard question to answer. And I don't say that just to avoid answering it. It just really is hard to know because it depends what your priorities are. So if you're going to save, I guess I'm thinking like, how much did I spend per month on travel, which I could have saved instead of spend? I would say, I mean, several thousand RMB. So let's see. You take out, so rent is about 3,500, let's say. I mean, you could save about like 3,000 to 5,000 RMB per month to 5,000. That checks to me as I'm saying it. So about 500 to 1,000 RM to 1,000. That checks. I would say about like 3,000 to 5,000 RMB. 5,000 to 7,000, 3 to 7. That's a very big range, but we're going to go with that. That being said, I did not save. I spent. I experienced, but did you transfer money out of China? I did. Please hold. Sorry if that was loud. I did. I transferred it. I did at the time use PayPal. I even put together a great PowerPoint. Guys, I love PowerPoints. They're so fun. No, but I did use PayPal to send it. That being said, there was a large kind of exchange chunk that came out of that. I know that now that's not. I think people are using Swapsy, I believe, is a popular one. Swapsy for sending money home. I would say just home because it's like out of China. That being said, I'm going to type this in for you guys. Swapsy to send money home. That is a question I would ask your teacher ambassadors because they'll know the biggest kind of thing, the real-time ones now. I mean, at this point, I'm 2 years aged. I'm invalid by 2 years. So let's see. Let us see. Do you offer placements in Shanghai? Yes, we do. We certainly do. Definitely let us know your preferences as you're chatting, as you're with your recruiter. We do try to place based on preferences, but it also does come down to where we have the openings and your timeline of arrival, as we've mentioned. Question from Scott. How easy was it to transition from living in the US to China? Great question. It was honestly fairly easy. I think the biggest challenge was the language, that even though I could find English speakers, I had to make an effort, and it was like that part was a little uncomfortable. I felt demanding to ask, like, do you speak English? Because here I am in another country and I don't speak their language. That said, I think the biggest difference for me was language, and just constantly, like, as you're on the subway, you'll hear Chinese. They then usually translate it into English right after. I would say, again, the prevalence of English is very common in China. But that being said, you're still in a country that speaks a different language, which is beautiful, but also difficult. Being in a tier 1 city, and when I say tier 1, I mean any of our like Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, I think Guangzhou's tier 1, the bigger cities, the major kind of metropolis ones. There's a lot of access to Western things. I probably indulged too much in going to Western like restaurants, which are more expensive. And coming back to the cost of living thing, if you want to save money, eat the Chinese food because it's so good and it's so cheap. That's the other thing that I can't stress enough of just how cheap the food is and how good it is. It was almost challenging to want to make it at home. I know if you have dietary restrictions, you may be more prone to want to eat at home. But that being said, definitely learn some key phrases to tell as you're at restaurants, or key questions, just to let them know, I can't have nuts or this, that, the other. But that being said, it's so cheap and easy to eat in China. So the transition was not all that difficult. I would say the biggest one was just the language and just hearing it every day and like, oh my gosh, I don't understand it, which also propelled me to want to learn it. So there's that. Yes, we offer placements in Shanghai. I'm going to Chongqing, but I've been delayed. Any idea on the situation there? So again, Bailey, beautiful name. As of right now, there's not. That being said, everything comes back to this global pandemic in which we're living, that China is being so very cautious on COVID cases. And every country I know has handled COVID differently. I would say the way that it's handled in China is it's a very strong approach of contact tracing. So there's a very thorough, that's a better word, very thorough approach. So that being said, a lot of the delays, and thank you for your patience. I know that it's not easy. First off, to everyone waiting, I know that it's, you're waiting for a dream, waiting and waiting. And this thing we call COVID is changing our plans more than we ever anticipated. So thank you. That being said, I don't have an update, unfortunately. I know how you feel. And not even like, I know this much of how you feel. So I remember I was planning on being there in January, and I found out, probably a couple weeks, at that time, the timeline looked different, right? What then was a couple weeks is now much different because COVID and everything's slower right now. It's like molasses just slowly churning. That being said, at that time, I was delayed, and I got the phone call right before I had quit my job. I was like going on my last little hoorah vacation before I was going to then fly out. And I got the call from my recruiter of like, things were delayed at the kind of government side. So you're going to have to wait. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I figured it out because that's what you do. And I think that's a good preparation for life in China, not in the work sense, but just life in China, that you're going to have to constantly navigate of like, you thought your phone was going to help you translate and there's no Wi-Fi, or, you thought you had the access, the right code, but you have to like figure things out. I mean, it's a great preparation, sadly. But that being said, I don't, Bailey, and just thank you for your patience. Reach out to your recruiter for any updates, but we definitely are updating as soon as we get any information as well. So thank you. I think, yeah, coming over here. Oh, okay. Is the money EF pay? I'm sorry, I missed this, Bailey. Is the money that EF pays a month enough to cover things like travel, food, rent, etc.? Yes. Definitely livable wage in each different city. Beijing and Shanghai are your more expensive cities, and it was definitely enough. Okay, I'm not missing anything over there. Did you transfer money out? Yes, I did. I didn't think about reaching out to the teaching ambassadors. Yeah, they're a great resource. I know that they're kind of under talked about, but definitely take advantage of it. Which country you do the placement? So Joseph, I myself do a placement for China. I think that is your question. Did you transfer money out? Yes. Okay, so it looks like I might have missed a question or two in between. Is there a teacher ambassador for Chengdu? I didn't see one on the site you posted. Great question, Ruse. If there's for Chengdu, reach out to your recruiter. So Chengdu is a different kind of entity. It's just the way that it's designed in China, the way that the different districts kind of relate to each other. I don't know of one on my side, but reach out. We can see if we can find you one. I don't know if you're already in the pipeline. I don't have one, but that being said, I'm sure there is somebody there. Great question. Chengdu is where the pandas are, by the way. If you don't already have that on your visit list, add it. Our teacher arrival times based on the COVID situations in the country they're in. Yeah, it's a little of everything, Norm. Yes. Short answer, yes. Because the consulates in each country, so the consulates in the US that represent China, the consulates in the UK that represent China, the consulates in South Africa that represent China are the ones that ultimately issue the visas. And so in order to get the documentation to apply for your visa, the consulates in each home country have to be issuing visas. So that being said, each consulate they're all under the embassy, but they make their own decisions. Each consulate does. So that being said, arrival times, yes, are based on the consulates, and the consulates factor in COVID, and yeah, probably COVID is probably the biggest one that they factor in, but each one makes their own separate decisions. You're welcome, Universal Ellis. Hi, I hope you're fine. I'm from Iran, and I just wanted to learn how to speak English with the correct accent. So do you have any suggestions for me? Great question. We do. So this specifically what we're chatting here today. So you might be a little bit like, what is this? We were talking about China. I thought this was English first. So we are talking today for teachers that are looking to go to China to teach English. But I did type my email up above. So send me a quick email and I can get you in touch with kind of the right department within English first, or just the right department that would kind of handle that best. I know you're probably very lost. So thanks for hanging out. Happy to have you. It's a good time. Always here for it. Downrange photos. Thank you. Thank you. I'm ecstatic to get out there. Yay. I'm ecstatic to get you there too. So I don't mind waiting to go out and get my dream job. Thanks for answering. Oh, Bailey, of course. Happy to have you. And again, I cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate your patience. I know that's such a like corporate line of like, thank you for your patience, but really genuinely, thank you. I know that, you probably expected to be there at a different time. And we appreciate it as humans, as a company. Does everyone fly into Beijing first? No, it really does. So downrange photos does depend on your, it depends on a lot of things. You could fly in anywhere. Typically for teachers that are flying in right now, you will have a 2-week mandatory quarantine. And so you'll go right from the airport right to a hotel for quarantining. We do cover the cost of that. And then after your quarantine, depending on your location, you may have additional kind kind of post-quarantine days, you may go right to your location. It is dependent on a lot of factors, but just know going in, if you are going in any time during this COVID pandemic, you likely will have a 2-week quarantine. So get a lot of activities ready because, sorry, I've been neglecting my YouTubers here. Thanks, guys. You will have a lot of downtime. You'll do a lot of training as you're also there, but you will have a fair amount of downtime. So enjoy that as well. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions. How did you find the cultural differences? I've heard the locals like to take photos purely because they're not used to seeing faces like ours. Taylor, that is correct. Yes, at first that baffled me. I was like, who do you think I am? First off, like, what actress do I look like? Because I need to know. I think if I wear my glasses, I hear I look like Zoe Deschanel, whatever. I can't say it. Don't judge me. New girl. Anyway, yes, people will take photos, and I had to like think through this, and it does make sense because if you think about it, China was not open to Western countries until the 70s. So for a lot of people, especially the older generation, they see, especially when you're in like smaller areas, they see foreigners that look different and they're just fascinated. And it's a genuine, like, well-intended fascination that they will take pictures. You can learn, and I would suggest if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can learn, just the little phrases of how to say, like, please don't take a picture, or, I'm not comfortable. And they're very respectful. But that being said, it's kind of cute. It's actually like really cute. Especially as I would travel to some of the more like non-visited places, some of which, Avatar Mountains, if you don't know about them, look them up. Absolutely gorgeous. I think I went there twice. I thought about going 3 times because like I loved it. And it was, a trek. Like it's kind of remote. And people there, especially, it is a tourist place, but a lot of just like local tourists, foreign tourists don't go. So it's very undiscovered, Avatar Mountains. Anyways, you go to like kind of the more remote places, you'll see that they are just absolutely fascinated. Again, everyone responds a little differently. I just took it as like, oh, you think I'm famous? Maybe someday. Can I sign it? So yeah. Well, I think that, so just as far as traveling, again, I know I mentioned that like on WeChat, you can book everything. Man, there's just so many places to visit. I would say some must-sees are like, the Great Wall, right? I think we all have that universally. Great Wall is honestly also not that hard. If you're a Beijing teacher, you can take a train, or not a train, you can take a bus. It's about an hour and a half outside the city. You can toboggan down the Great Wall. So like ride in a little like slide thingy down the wall. I camped on the Great Wall, which was a good time. There's lots of different tour groups in China, one of which, just when you're there, I would say I was going to name it, but I was like, I don't know if they're like still doing tours because of COVID, but tour groups in general, like very, very popular. So we did one that camped on the Great Wall. I did one that went up to like Datong, which was north, like China. I went to Harbin. So also what I would do is follow these tour groups for their itineraries, pro life strat, and then make your own itinerary. Yes. So Harbin, the ice festival, absolutely gorgeous. Please look it up. I'm going to type it in here because I'm going to type some of my favorites. So Harbin Ice Festival. It's in January. It's in like northern, very, 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 very cold. They might wait. Oops, not ice. They may not be hosting it, likely not because of COVID, but, if you're there for like, let's say January of 2023, which at this point, even if you go, in the next several months, you'd be there for the year. So Harbin Ice Festival, absolutely gorgeous. It's in very cold place. We took a night train. So night trains are the best. Every time I'm on it, I think of Journey and I'm like, she took a midnight train going anywhere. Avatar Mountains is the other one. Lots of trains to get there. I would say take trains. I spelled mountains. Take trains. They are such a good experience. And especially if you go with like friends, you can get, for like the 4-room sleepers, you can get like a private room. If you're up for adventure, go for like the 3 and 3. So it's a sleeper that in this like little stall, basically in this room, it does not have a door and it has 3 beds. Guaranteed good time. I mean, guys, it is the best thing. And you'll find every sort of sleeping, like you have, kids, adults, grandparents. I love it. I think it's a good time. But if you're more about like some peace and tranquility, you can do a sleeper that's two beds, and then it has a door. So you can either go with friends, or people are, I feel like too, when they're in the 4 room, they're very respectful and like a lot quieter, versus the 3 and 3 is just like, it's a free for all. And I love it. What's the best way to travel in Shanghai? Also, which is the cheapest? Thank you for answering my last question. Of course, Bailey. So best way to travel in the city is buses. I know that, especially here in the US, again, I'm from the US, so I can only speak to my experience here. Our bus systems are a joke. What bus system, I think you would say, because even in major cities, like they're not ever on time, efficient, anything. In China, it is so efficient. Transportation, getting things, deliveries, buying stuff. It's just so efficient. I mean, yes. So the best way to travel is the bus. That or the subway. Actually, the subway is probably the best, like the fastest and cheapest value. Um, but also the bus is like very underrated, I would say. So I found in pro-life strat, so for example, I went down to Hong Kong and I really didn't have like things I wanted to see. I saw like the Buddha statue. Um, but one thing I did, and I totally recommend this, is like just take a public bus. They're usually like 4 kwai or 8 kwai, which is like not even 25 cents. And just find like a route, look on like Google Maps or any maps, and it'll show you the route, the bus route. I would just find one that went through the city and just ride the public bus and just like get out when I saw something interesting. I did the same thing in Seoul. I went over to Seoul, had like 1 or 2 things I wanted to see, or 1 or 2 areas. And then I was like, well, I have a bunch of time. Like I have nothing to do. I don't want to spend a lot of money, to go to like some tourist site that looks like I've already seen. So I would just look up the bus route and just ride the public bus like through the city. And then just if you get somewhere that you're like, oh, this looks like a cool neighborhood, just hop out. If not, like you just get a good tour of the city and it's nice and restful. So that's just a little bit about my pro-life strat for traveling to a new city. Is it's a great way to, yeah, to see things for cheap, because I'm all about that. Here at Cost of Living, we are all about cheap and cheerful, guys. That being said, indulge and spend when you want, like when it's an experience that you're willing to pay for. But otherwise, man, I say just get there. Like my strategy was always my days off, for example, your days off were like weekdays. So I had Monday, Tuesday off. So I would work until about 6 p.m. on Sunday. And oftentimes I would take like an 8 p.m. Train out of Beijing going to any of these like destinations. So like, I mean, I did it for Shanghai. I did it for, I think I did it, not for Avatar Mountains. Did it for like Suzhou or cities like around some of the water towns that were around Shanghai as well. Those are really pretty. Same for like Guangzhou. So take a night train, and then you get there usually in the morning. So I would get there Monday morning. I would drop my bags at whatever hostel I chose to stay at, which I would book on the train. Always also little strategy for booking places. In China, it's not common, but it does happen where some places cannot host foreigners. So some hotels and things can't host foreigners because they have to register you at the police station, and it's something additional for the location. So what I would recommend is, again, this is not common, but something just to be aware of is look for reviews. So if you're looking on Ctrip is another really popular booking platform, or you can just use the one that's in WeChat, but ctrip.com for booking. Look for reviews from a foreigner. So just as long as it has somebody that was also a foreigner that left a review, and then I would say pay it forward. Do that for the next people. Again, not common that happens, but it does happen. And it's worth it just to kind of give that a fair look. But yes, so stay at a hostel, drop my bags, spend Monday like visiting, Tuesday visiting the city, and then hop on a night train Tuesday night. And you don't work until the afternoons during the weekdays. So like, I'd get back Wednesday morning, 7 a.m., take a nap, go to work at 1. So yeah, great. I would usually do night sleepers on those though, so I could sleep on it. But if you do want to save more money, you can also take a hard seat on the buses or on the trains. So that's like a non-lay down sleeper, but that's like if you're really on a budget, and I was never that desperate. I was like, I'd rather sleep. Yeah, so cheapest way to travel, going back to that, Bailey, is bus. Best is usually metros. All the cities have very public common metros. You can look up any metro map. So just like Guangzhou metro map, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Beijing, Chongqing metro map, and you'll get very real, like good functioning, real time, lifetime, all that good stuff, all the times. Yeah, so I don't know if I've like exhausted you guys. Let's see, I'm just kind of going through some things I just jotted down in case you guys cared. As far as like buying groceries and buying things, um, the delivery is the best way to do it. So they have things kind of like Instacart or, something delivery where similar to my coffee, how I would leave my apartment. Oh, I don't think I ever finished that. So my apartment was like 5 subway stops from my work. So I would leave my apartment and as I was getting on, I would order my coffee to be delivered to work. And so the joke was always like, who got there first, Cece or the coffee? Because it would often like get delivered before I did to the center. So very similar to that is you can do that with groceries. I would do that was when I left work, I would leave work and then on the subway home, type in my order, have it, and it would be delivered typically by the time I got home. If it didn't beat me to the door. So very quick. Again, just efficiency in China is amazing. The cost was so cheap. I mean, I would get fresh fruits, vegetables, things like that. And it was under 100 kwai usually. Yeah, under 100 kwai, I would say, which is a kwai is the kind of bucks for the US. It's just a casual way of saying 100 RMB. So if you hear me say that, it's like 100 bucks. So $15 for groceries, and that would like get me through the week. So very cheap groceries, very efficient. Absolutely loved it. No, I don't know what that is. Sorry, somebody sent something. Eating out. Yeah, I would say eating out again, not avoid, but if you want to save money, just be aware, and you're going to realize this very quickly that Western food costs a lot more. And it's honestly like you're in China, enjoy the food. You'll miss it. They'll tell you that. Did you have to get a VPN to access apps? I did. Yeah. So apps like Facebook, Instagram, I want to say like, yeah, Netflix was one that I had to turn on my VPN for. A lot of teachers, again, ask the teacher. I don't want to just push this on them, but I know they know more lifetime of like what's the best option. ExpressVPN was really popular when I was there. To my understanding, it still is one of the top recommended. I would say get it in your home country before you go because it can be challenging to download it once you arrive. But get it, log into your devices while you're in your home country. Typically, they have about like a 1 year sign up thing for it anyway. Did you cook or eat out more? I mean, I ate out more. I'm not an at-home cooker. That being said, it was just cheaper. I mean, it was cheap. I justify it. It was so much cheaper and easier to do that. I would say one thing I really enjoyed was learning from my Chinese coworkers how to cook the food a little bit better. So like one of my friends at work, she hosted me at her place. And it was also just very sweet. It was such a glimpse into life there. I think it's easy to stick to what you know, and it's easy to like, as international teachers, hang out with only international teachers because it's comfortable and like, you're all going through the same, you have a lot in common, etc. But it was so rewarding, and I'm so glad that I took the time to like spend with my Chinese teachers because I still think back to spending that day with her, and like she walked me through some recipes of how to make things. One that I weirdly love, and like I would not have thought that this was a normal food to eat. Shihongshi Xiaodian, I think it is. Yeah, Shihongshi. It's tomato and egg stir fry. It's like just so weirdly good. I just like Googled one quick recipe for it. By no means is this a sponsorship, but just this was like one of my favorite things for some weird reason. The Shihongshi Chalian, which was like noodles and stir fried eggs and tomatoes, which like it doesn't check that it's good, but it sure was. I'll tell you what. Also, I did not know this going in, just random fact for you, but Jidan, not Jidian, the Jidan, now I see that. I'm like, ugh, do I even try and speak Chinese? Shi Hong Shi Chao Dian. There are a lot of 7-Elevens in China, and I did not know that. I don't know why that is something that stood out to me, but I thought that like 7-Eleven was a very Western thing, but they're all over China. So anyway, well, guys, we are coming right up on time. I know I've just spammed you with a bunch of things. If you have any questions, I'll drop my email here one more time. If you think of anything after you hop off or just didn't really want to say it with everyone, that's totally fine. Send me an email. Happy to answer or direct you in the right direction if you can see that that's what I do well. That's what I do best. So just drop my email again in there. Last question, any updates on the visa process for embassies in the US? As of right now, Chicago is our only consulate issuing visas. So I think we've mentioned that a little bit here today, that consulates are the biggest factor in your arrival time. So those are just to give you an idea of like, you have to have permanent address in certain cities, or not certain cities, I'm sorry, certain states. China, yes, consulate map. Let me just run through that. So if you have permanent address in, I think the states are like Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, let's see, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota are the cities in Chicago consulate. So if you have permanent address in those cities, then that's sadly the only consulate right now issuing. Hopefully, again, that changes. And thank you guys for all of your patience. I know that, Michigan too, and Wisconsin. Yeah. So, well, guys, we are coming right up on time. So, very excited to get out to China. Excited to get you there too. Aw, thank you, Bailey. That's so sweet. Well, guys, send me an email if you have any questions. Gonna hop off, but it's been a party. I can't believe we've done it. Did do it, guys. Anyway, bye. Have a good one. Aw. Yes, Taylor, hit me up. All right. Bye, guys. Ciao. Ciao, Bella. Mm-hmm. Woo! I guess I didn't end it. That's what happens.